Well, this did not go according to plan. I was going to have more drone shots in. I was going to have some other stuff going on. I was going to be smoking a cigar, but for the last 3 days, it has been windy. And even though it's like 35 degrees outside, it feels much, much colder. This is not fun, but I'm doing this anyway. Why am I doing number 473 this way? I'm doing it because last year I did Christmas at the American Legion in Abington, and I'm going about my business like 9 months later, and a guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, you did that Christmas show on Christmas Day in Abington?" Well, I remember that, and I really liked it. I think it was actually Wednesday, but I did nonetheless. And he's like, "I really felt that was like cool to do. It kind of got me out of my funk that I was in, and I really enjoyed it." So I'm out here, and the lighting could be better. Yes, assuming the light could be better. And I wanted to have some, more drone footage in here. And the lighting's not what I want it to be, but I'm live on a Sunday night in December in the Northeast. No snow, no rain, but it is, as you can see with the American flag back there, the wind blowing. And I'm at Island Grove Park in Abington on Sunday night, recording number 473 for Oscar Mike Radio. So I wanted to talk about how this year is ending, what's going on for next year, the state of Veterans Affairs and things like that. It probably won't be an hour show because, it's cold, But hey, you got to suffer sometimes to get the outcome you want, and I'm good with that. So where's the show heading into 2026 and ending out in 2025? It's been a great year for 2025, no question about it. It was great getting to go to the Elizabeth Dole Foundation's 10th annual convening. It was great getting to do other things. All these connections made are leading to better and better outcomes. I want to give a big shout out to Rugged Warrior Healing Coalition for what you all did to get me a media kit that allowed me to open more doors. And it's just a very, very exciting time. Thank you so much. And the makers of the media kit, Evocati Public Relations, Barrett, Dillon, just thank you for all the work you have done for me and Oscar Mike Radio. Thank you so much. And this is what I'm trying to tell other podcasters. I taught a podcasting class this year at Boyden Public Library, and it went really, really well. Really well. And it just proves that if you are focused, if you're intentful, and if you believe in sustained consistency, you're going to have a great outcome. I can't guarantee you'll be the next Joe Rogan or Sean Ryan or one of those other people, but you're going to have a great outcome for what you want to do. And some of my students really lean into that, and it's so exciting to see them succeed. I'm going to have a link to Nancy's Nook podcast in this show write-up, and you'll understand where I'm coming from. Nancy, I am so proud of you. Hats off to you. I'm not taking my hat off right now. And thank you again for just encouraging me to keep at this craft and do better. You're the absolute best. What else we have going on? I can now announce informally, I'm going to do this in a formal way, where number 500 will be done at the Foxborough, Massachusetts Community Veterans Center. So the Veterans Center is part of the community center for the town of Foxborough, and we will do number 500 there. And a big thank you to Michelle Hamilton, longtime Oscar Mike Radio supporter, and Rolling Thunder, and all the other people that have supported me. It's going to be a great way to bring in year 10. Thank you so much. You are all the best. Where is Oscar Mike Radio going in 2026? Yes, it's year number 10. Yes, we're kind of number 500. Yes. But I'm also looking for ways to change up what I do. Still focus on what works for me and what works well and what I enjoy doing, but finding new ways to either do the show, add to production value, improve my craft, and find different kinds of stories. And I got an email a couple weeks ago from a person who said, you know what, I really like the fact that your show doesn't go after the big name spec ops veteran or active duty veterans, the big name veterans. Instead, tell the stories of people who have served, and are very committed to being of service when they separate from the military. Thank you very much. And yeah, sure, I'd love to talk to some of the big names. Make no mistake, but there's something about taking someone's story who may have been a admin clerk or may have been a supply chief, Motor T, somebody like that, and understanding what they did and how it all fits into the big picture and what they did after they got out. It's very exciting. It never gets old, and I just want to keep that going for 2026. And yeah, I'm turning year 10. If you look at a lot of podcasts, there's like 4.4 million out now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. A lot of podcasts fail by episode 8. Between 18 and 36 is when a lot of podcasts fail. And if you look at the total number of shows I've done and the number of curated, that means numbered shows to me, it's really something that doesn't feel like I've done, close to 500, but it's still fun. Yes, it's effort. Yes, it's work. Yes, it requires focus and discipline and consistency and a desire to improve. But still, at its core, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing it. I'm not working at a radio station like I wanted to. I'm not at a TV station yet. Maybe, I don't know. But at the end of the day, yes, it's like 28 degrees out here. As you can see the American flag in the background, it's blowing and going. But I'm having a great time. It never gets old. And I enjoy the aspect of being here, doing this with you all. And since it's never gotten old, one of the things that I'm being encouraged to do is to tell the story of the podcast. Teach podcasting, which to me, teaching podcasts is great. I had a good time doing it, but I'm like, again, there's thousands of courses out there already. What makes mine any different? Why would you listen to me over somebody else? It's already been done hundreds of thousands of times over. You can go on YouTube. I mean, Spotify and Apple have their own podcast course. You can take that if you want to, but people seem to like what I do and how I teach it. I might consider doing it. I think what I want to get more into, because I'm doing this right now for another entity, and that is podcast production. This entity, and I'm going to announce them later in the year, so I don't want to give it away now, took what I presented, made it their own, and now are getting value add to their business. And I'm like, look, let's just see if my concept works. If it does, great. I'll package that up and do it in a school or something like that. And it is. And so I think for me, there's a saying out of Nashville, it only took you 10 years to be an overnight success. I think as I come into year 10, that success is coming. And I cannot wait to see what happens with that success. I'm looking at doing more public speaking engagements. And I got asked, well, we haven't seen you at these conferences and these meetups, these other places. Why is that? I said, well, for the last 3.5, 4 years, I really couldn't. Walking and having the stamina to go through an event or a convention or a networking event took a lot out of me. And I just couldn't because of my injury I had 4 years ago. We have turned a corner. That is in the past, and it's going to be exciting to see what I can do when I finally get my wheels underneath me and get going. And I think it's important to do that. Some people don't like doing it. It's not really my favorite thing either, to tell you the truth, but there is something about meeting someone face to face over a cup of coffee or, in a social setting and hearing where they are and meeting them where they're at that I just haven't done. I haven't done. It's not because I'm, don't really want to. It's just I couldn't. And so we're going to try doing more of that this year. And I'm excited to see what is going on. Also, one thing that's really changing for me for year 10 and the future is I'm going to let more and more people do some of the behind the scenes work to make Oscar Mike Radio so I can focus more on the guest, on the topic, on improving my craft behind the microphone and the camera. I hate to tell people this. I mean, audio podcasts will always be a thing. They're always going to be here. But if you're going to be a serious podcaster in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to have some expertise in video, whether you like it or not. And video is it's more complicated to do well. And, I'm getting some humble pie right now. Like, you can't really see my face because of the light. I didn't bring the light. It's in my car. I'm like, I'm not going to go back and walk 300 yards to get a light. I'm just not going to do it. But it's things like that, right? And I might try to brighten me up a little bit post-production. But video is complicated. Video requires more technical competence to do right, more patience. It's a longer process. Now, there's some things that you can do to make it easier. I've been doing video since 2019, but truly for podcasting as a whole, you're going to have video on video platforms like YouTube and be able to present your podcast on the audio only platforms like Podbean and Buzzsprout. And it's only going to get more as tools change. And I get asked about that all the time. I'm like, look, man, 10 years ago, to have this kind of rig I have right now was about $3,000, $4,000. Now it's under $1,000 and getting cheaper. And while I'm not a big fan of using your cell phone to podcast or take video for this stuff like this, cell phones are for in a pinch or as needed can sub in very nicely. You get a cell phone with a wireless lav mic and a stationary light, and you can put out some very great content of two people talking. So I can't just discount cell phones anymore. That truly means that you can take an entire podcast studio in your purse, backpack, or travel bag. The Zoom P2 and Zoom P4, the PodTrack P2 and P4 system, it fits in the palm of your hand, allows you to plug in USB microphones, and within minutes, Nancy set up her entire P2 unit in under 4 minutes. You can be podcasting. It's just that simple. And I think simple is good. Simple means accessibility, and simple means a cheaper, lower barrier to entry that you're going to want to have. I just think that if you're going to take the lower barrier to entry, which there's nothing wrong with doing, that you need to focus on the actual aspects of storytelling, interviewing, and post-production. There's just no two ways about it. You cannot cheat that grind. You got to be able and willing to put the reps in to build a good outcome for you. And I think that's happening as the industry-wide. And the other thing that's happening is there truly are solid, stable communities being created for podcasters, veteran or not. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Mark Ronick's, podcasting empowerment community. Military Creator Con with James Van Buren and Mar-a-Lago. They're creating it on the veteran side, and then there's other people doing it in my side. I have my thing that I'm trying to stand up over here in the next 2 years and get going. So there's communities being created, there's people coming together, and I think it's exciting because, again, I get told, well, there's too many podcasts, and I got told the other day there's too many veteran podcasts. I'm like, really? Why do you say that? There's just too many of them. I'm like, we can say there's too many veteran podcasts when we get our own category on Spotify or Apple Podcast. Until that happens, we don't have anything. We just don't. Okay? And the reason I say that is, my podcast is rated by Apple and ranked categorized in the news category. And I guess you could call me news, but I'm not really news. I'm not really current events either. I kind of float around, and you might think, what's the big deal? Well, the algorithm is going to figure out where to put you, and if my stuff has military and veterans in it, and I'm stuffed in a human interest category somewhere, I might be on the bottom there. It's very challenging, extremely challenging. And I've dealt with it for years. I know how to deal with it. It just is what it is. There's certain areas where I'm found, like FeedSpot, and that's done a very good job of profiling Oscar Mike Radio. People do know how to find me, like Advocacy PR and other PR agencies. And so, there's never too many. and I go back to World War I would have loved for the Veteran Podcast now to go back to World War I and the Civil War and tell those stories. I'd love to have heard some of those. I think we look at things very differently now today. And then I get asked, is there a need? Is there a need for veteran podcasters? I'm like, absolutely. We might be the only things that tell people what our experience is like. We can come together and advocate for ourselves in front of the VA, in front of local and state agencies, in municipalities in a way that nobody else can. Keep telling those stories. If you're not a veteran and you want a podcast, there's a story for you. I said this in my class. Think about the person who wrote that caveman paintings on the wall thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. And we're still talking about it today. Your story has value. You have value. Please. It's simple. Just get a recorder, download Audacity, and just start talking to your microphone, and you'll get better. I get asked what I think is going on with veterans and veterans advocacy. Well, we had the numbers from the VA for 2024, and it was like 6,482 veterans committed suicide last year, about 17 a day. So in the last 10 years, effectively, the numbers have dropped from 22 a day to 17 a day. There's more work to be done. There's more work to be done. We've got to figure out how to build resilience. I think there's this term that's being floated around that I'm studying. It's called post-traumatic growth. So instead of thinking of post-traumatic stress as disorder, they're like, hey, you have PTSD, you're dealing with it. Now, how do we grow from that? I'm very interested to see how this will all work, because if we can grow from our PTSD and the things that happen to us, instead of allowing those things to bury us or impact us negatively, well then we all win together. We all win together. Last but not least, I'm going to tell all veterans this. I said, we love to complain. We love to sit around at the motorcycle club, at the bar, at the Legion, at the VFW, online playing, video games, and complain. It is evident we are going to have to start running for office locally, and then running for office at the county and state level, and then running at the national level to truly change things. People have forgotten that our elected officials work for us, not the other way around. And that goes double for us veterans. We have to come together and support someone who wants to run for office. And maybe we don't agree with all the things they say, but if they want to support us, if we get enough of us in there, we can start making real change. And you might be saying, well, why is that, Travis? I said, well, because we had the story of the Washington Post that said, hey, you know what? Veterans get too much. We could go through and take stuff away from them at the VA. No problem. I mean, veterans are getting too much. They're gaming the system. We need to really, draw back and draw down and negate some of the things the VA is doing right now. No, we don't. We've finally gotten people to start accepting the fact that they can come to the VA for care. That's the last thing we need to do. It's things like, the person writing about, I think his name's Harrison, I forget his last name. It's cold, no excuse, but anyway, it's like, hey, we need to get rid of the Marine Corps. We can save some money that way. I don't know. I mean, when you need to get somewhere overnight and impose our will or get our people out of the situation, the Marines are there, and we always will be. We have veterans coming out of the military who have security experience, trade experience, truck driving experience, who get to their to employer. Oh yeah, none of that stuff you did in the military. The trucks you drove, the stuff you worked on applied in the civilian life. Really? You did, electrical work on naval ships, aircraft, and complex, other machinery, and none of that applies in a civilian setting. It's got to change. It's got to change. There's a great program called Hard to Helmets that I'm looking into, and I want to put some more light on what they do for this reason. So let's see here. It's not Christmas, but this is coming out on Christmas. I'm going to end on this, that I just feel extremely grateful to still be doing Oscar Mike Radio. I don't care if I have one download a week, or sometimes when I get thousands of downloads a week. I am grateful for each and every one of them. Again, it's the story. It's the story, it's the story, it's the story. And you might not think that you're getting out of the military and starting a family and going to work somewhere, or starting your own business, or creating your own, art outreach or veterans outreach is a big deal. But I promise you it is. And there's people out there that want to understand your story, support you, and help you move forward. And that's my promise to you all, is that's not going to change. I might not ever be like one of the big top 10 podcasters. I really don't care. I just want to tell your story in an authentic way and understand what you did to get there and share that with people. So it's a great way to end the year. Yes, I'm cold right now. Yes, I could have brought another light. Yeah, I got some cleanup to do on the audio when I get back, but I'm again I am just thankful for everybody who supports me. And that starts with Keith Hayes, Ascends to One Productions, who co-produces the show, Anthony Arnold, Tony of VB Web Design, who makes my website and has got it really dialed in for me. Those two guys have been with me for almost 10 years in April exactly. And then it's Joyce Asek of Asek Real Estate, my first sponsor. Danielle Rocco, Echo 6 Designs, Fight Camp, really got me in shape to do well in weightlifting. And then my supporters, Travis Arnold has been a longtime supporter of mine with the Cason Shaving Company. Faye Simon, you have helped me grow as a artist, as a writer, and now letting me MC your UES Brain Foundation work. It was such an honor to do that. I could go on and on. It's just a really, really cool to see other people. Oh yeah, Viking Bags, for your support of Oscar Mike Radio. Thank you very much. I'm going to use your bag when I go on my motorcycle trip next year. Yay. Just, so many people, Paige, Mark, Miranda, my original hot crew, Todd, Anthony, and Dwayne, Heather, let's see here, who else? Mikey, 40 Mike, Michael Geary of Hellfish Haven, Michelle and Pete, and all the Rolling Thunder peeps. You all have always supported Oscar Mike Radio very enthusiastically. I appreciate all of you. Adam Gunn, Gina Alderman of Rugged Warrior Healing Coalition. I could just go on and on. I'm sure I've missed a few. It's been a while. And all my guests, all of you have given of your time graciously to me, opened up to me, and shown me, who you all are and what it takes to be you in this time of really uncertainty and upheaval. Thank you so much for being so open with me. And oh yes, my Tip of the Spear crew, David Willis, Rich LaMonica, Philippa, Tab, the Triple Threat Podcast, all you all, Military Creator Con again, James, Mara, Travis. Yeah, there's a lot more Travises out there than you would think. And then I just recorded a video a couple hours ago with the greatest American hero, Brian, Kristen, and Karn, your family. Thank you very much for everything. And we're going to end this on a good note. We are Oscar Mike. I'm getting ready to get on the move and warm myself up. And the mission is still in flight. Here's 2025, and 2026 is just around the corner. We're out.